Hey there guys, I feel the need for speed, and welcome back to a brand new FlickPick live show, Tuesday night edition. Hope you guys brought some popcorn, something cold to drink, or slightly salty to snack on. Either way, thank you for joining me once again, and if you can't see me and you're just listening to my stupid voice, I am wearing the Top Gun Maverick jacket, so that's why I'm referencing Top Gun. It's not just because I'm holding on to 1980s nostalgia. No. Absolutely not. And with all of that said, I'm going to crack open this delicious caffeinated beverage. Oh, that is the sound of freedom. And how are you guys doing? Welcome back. It's been about 8 or 9 days, but I've been busy this week. Okay, when I make a promise to you, I keep that promise about 43% of the time. But this week I did upload 4 new videos. If you missed them, well, I'm going to give you the quick rundown, and then we're going to dive into your questions. And I do want to talk about the Flash movie because I did see it last week. And if you missed my review over on the FlickPick channel, well, go check it out. I talked about the movie in the movie theater parking lot immediately after seeing it. And I've come to the conclusion, for a long time, I have hated the concept of doing sit-down movie reviews. Something about them just take away the energy, the fire, the passion that I have for cinema. It's like, okay, I'm going to go see this movie. Then I'm going to go home. I'm going to write some bullet points. Then I'm going to sit in my chair. And then I'm going to do a jump cut video, and I'm just going to be a talking head for 5 minutes. No. That's not real. That's not visceral. That's not raw. And that's how we like it here, isn't it? Or at least that's how I like it. And that's how I like to give it to you. Take it how you will. So the new style of movie reviews over on the FlickPick channel, and the new style that I'm most excited about, and the one that's going to keep me going on YouTube for a very long time, is I'm going to do instantaneous movie reviews after I see the movie. In the theater, if I watch them at home, wherever. But I'm taking my camera with me. I just bought a nice new sexy light to light my beautiful face. And yeah, you can't have shadows on your eyes. The auditorium lights at movie theaters, it's just atrocious lighting. It makes you look like you're 83 years old either way. So yeah, the new style movie reviews, I'm going to review the movie instantly after I watch it at the theater. And I'll be honest with you, it's not the easiest thing ever to first get away with talking about a movie in an auditorium, and you're hoping you're not going to get kicked out. And also, it's very difficult to collect your thoughts immediately after a movie and be witty and informative and get it all out within like 5 minutes of recording as people walk by and look at you. It's a very difficult thing, but I think I strive under that kind of stress load. So anyway, if you missed my review of The Flash, go check it out. Go check it out over on the FlickPick channel. Also, over on the FlickPick channel, I did review the new Transformers movie, Rise of the Beast, which I don't feel like anyone gives a shit about that movie. I just feel like the Transformers franchise is sort of dead in a way, sort of like the Fast and Furious franchise. Yeah, sure, when there's nothing better to do, we'll go see those movies, but no one really cares. No one really talks about them. They cost hundreds of millions of dollars, but 3 days after they come out, there's no discussion. No one ever goes, oh, that was an amazing sequence in that movie. No, it's instantly forgettable $1 million content that Hollywood craps out into our eyeballs, and we enjoy going to watch it one time, but we'll probably never go see it again. So anyway, go watch that review. Also on this channel, this week I did put up a first reaction of The Flash, and also a long overdue Flick Trip episode, which went up 2 days ago. So if you want to go watch that, please do. A lot of you have already, and I do appreciate it. The feedback has been phenomenal, and I thank you so much for that. So yeah, those are 4 new videos for you guys. And now let's top it off with a brand new live show now. So with all that said, welcome back. We can talk about The Flash, guys. And if you guys have questions about The Flash, or if you have seen the new Ezra Miller movie, The Flash, please chime in. No spoilers. Let's keep it spoiler free until the movie does come out. So let's talk about The Flash for a little bit, and then we'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Whatever. You guys know how this goes. And also, I will say this. I did record a very special discussion video with a couple other YouTubers, 3C Films and Austin Burke. We did a discussion spoiler-filled review about The Flash, what we liked, what we didn't like, and I will crap that out on YouTube in the next few days. So without further ado, let's just dive into it, and I'll give you my quick thoughts on The Flash, and I see you guys are chiming in with some questions already. Yeah, the first one comes from James Dozier, who says, "Hey John, how's it going tonight? Going pretty good. I feel like I'm slightly buzzed right now. We went and played trivia tonight at a local brewery, and I got all of the movie questions right. I am happy to announce one of the questions I got right, and it made me feel so accredited as a movie enthusiast, was a question about Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, the 1992 Sylvester Stallone classic, which no one saw, and it was a financial box office bomb. But I got the question right. But real quick, my quick thoughts on The Flash. If you guys missed the review, going into this movie, I was a bit pessimistic. I think if you guys have heard my opinions about Ezra Miller or the Flash movie and all the delays and reshoots, and the screenwriter of the movie, who most recently wrote Birds of Prey, which I thought was pretty lackluster comic book movie to say the least. I loved The Flash. Do I think it's the perfect movie? No. Do I think it's like the next Dark Knight? Absolutely not. But do I think it's everything that a Flash movie should be, and giving fans what they want to see, and utilizing the Flash to the highest degree you possibly can to make it an entertaining movie, and more or less one big love letter to DC past and present, and also showing you some cameos that hardcore movie enthusiasts, and especially comic book nerds, will only get? Yes, it does those things. And I'm happy to say it also had sort of a Back to the Future vibe ever so slightly at different points. And the best way I can describe The Flash is, well, Barry Allen in this movie is sort of like Marty McFly, and his Doc Brown is sort of like Michael Keaton's Batman. So those were all great things. And it was an entertaining movie. Sure, it looks like a Saturday morning cartoon at times, and does it look the CG at times look a little bit like a video game? Sure, absolutely. But oddly enough, in the tone of what the Flash movie was, it all worked. So I'm going to highly recommend watching it. It's what DC should have been doing for a long time with their comic book characters. And I think this movie finally achieved what they should have done 5 or 6 years ago. So yeah, it's not like the Joker or like the Batman with Robert Pattinson. It's definitely not in that caliber or that tone, which I do love and prefer. But the opposite of that is what the Flash is. And if you're going to go for it and you just push the limits and say, here it is, enjoy fan service, well, I'll take what I can get. And as I've always said, I'm a fan, so service me. But someone else took that line recently and used it as their own without any credit towards me. And I felt very betrayed by that. But anyway, let's dive into your questions here. And if you guys want to talk about Flash or whatever, feel free to do so. We got one here. Let's dive into it. Let me find the questions. Here we go. We got Observing the Apocalypse, who says, create your creator clash fight card. Creator clash fight card? I don't know what that means. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, but I want to see Maximus Decimus Meridius, Gladiator, team up with Batman to take down, I don't know, the Roman Empire. I don't know. Where are we going with this? They seek out on a crusade to save Jesus Christ. I don't know. What are we talking about? I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. James Dozier says, hey, John. Oh, we already answered that. Clark Ingleton says, any movies or shows you can't get into / don't like that you know are good and that you're wrong for disliking? For me, it's The Wire and Game of Thrones. See, I enjoy The Wire and Game of Thrones, so I'm going to disagree with you there. But at the same time, I think Game of Thrones, honestly, you can crap on season 8 and say it was sort of lackluster. It was. But everything beyond that, I think that's the most epic series ever made. That's so fulfilling. King Joffrey, my God, what an evil, sadistic little asshole, and I love him. But a few series, I watched the first episode of Yellowstone, and I'm not in love with it. I get the appeal. I get that I would probably watch it when I'm super bored on a rainy day and there's absolutely nothing else to watch. But when it comes to Yellowstone, it's just like, okay, I get that you're protecting your land, you have some cattle, you're into the cowboy thing, I get it, and it sort of has a Godfather-esque vibe to it. I get it. I comprehend why people like it. But at the same time, I just don't give a fuck about your cattle ranch in Montana. I don't care. I don't care if they build a casino or a shopping mall, or they build a Six Flags, or they want to build some subdivisions. I don't care. I really don't. Do you need 800 billion acres of land to raise some cattle on? No, you do not. So I don't care about you or your land, Kevin Costner. I like you, especially in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and I will say my guilty pleasure of yours is Waterworld, which I enjoy when Kevin Costner drinks his own urine, which I think is a delight. But I just don't care about Yellowstone. Maybe that's a really unpopular opinion. I watched the first episode. Super well made show. Super well acted. But I just don't feel like I care to continue it. Will I? Yes, because I have nothing to live for. But it doesn't feel like a binger to me. You know, it's like, all right. I'm sure by season 4, we're still doing the same shit. I bet, right? Because I'm sure he's fighting for his land. I just don't care about his land. I'm sorry. I just don't. Let's go to the next question, though. I hope that was a fulfilling answer for you. Am I feeling a little bit frisky tonight? Maybe I am. I'm still buzzed. I drank a couple, one too many beers tonight. Anyway. The next one comes from Matt Logan, who says, watched you for years now, came to a conclusion, don't freak out, you don't care for Spider-Man as a whole. To say that 1 is better than 2 is nuts. To not like Doc Ock is nuts. 3 is flawed, but not half as bad as you say. No, Spider-Man 3 is an atrocious abomination. It's everything wrong with modern-day big blockbuster comic book movies, and I think the director himself will agree with me when he says the studio took over and tried to cram too much shit into a packed movie, which really just ruined the tone, the vibe, the consistency. And when you have a 12-minute sequence where you have Tobey Maguire with shitty eyeliner dancing around as an emo kid in a turtleneck, I'm sorry, that instantly takes me out of the movie. Whatever that was, it will take you out of the movie, and it will instantly take your movie down a few notches. It doesn't matter. If The Dark Knight had Bruce Wayne for 25 minutes of the movie, just saying, you know what, I'm going to completely change personality types and do something really boring that no one wants to watch on screen, well, it's going to take you out of the movie. So I think Spider-Man 3, I don't think you can stick up for it. It was terrible. It really was. And even the origin story of the villain Sandman was super fucking lame. I'm sorry if that's how he became Sandman, by falling into a pit where they're testing sand during a military experiment where they have 87 cameras on this test site, but they don't see a guy fall into a sand pit as 14 scientists are looking on through plexiglass. I don't buy that for one moment. And don't even get me mentioned on Topher Grace being Venom. Come on, man. What more do I need to say that wasn't a good movie? I can say more, but I just refuse to. Spider-Man 2, I get it. Yeah, it's a phenomenal movie. But I just think if I'm going to watch a Spider-Man movie, I just think the first one, where he's still in high school, it's just more fun. And I think Green Goblin in that film is just chewing up the scenery and a much more entertaining villain to watch than Doc Ock. And maybe that's just a subjective thing, but if you think Doc Ock is a much more interesting villain, and I'm only talking about the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man characters that you got on screen, not the comic book lore or whatever you can bring up, but I'm talking about what you actually got on screen. Green Goblin was much more entertaining to watch than Doc Ock. You gotta, come on. So it's all subjective. Come on. It's just comic book movies and opinions, but that's where I'm going to go. But as far as your question goes, I like Spider-Man. I really do. I think Spider-Man No Way Home was phenomenal. I think that was awesome. I think that was complete fan service and done right. I had a good time with that. And I was actually super blown away how they were able to bring up past movies and tie it all together. And I actually enjoyed Tom Holland's Spider-Man significantly more than Tobey Maguire's. Sorry, I just think Tom Holland actually looks like a kid in high school with this responsibility and this power, and he doesn't look like a 32-year-old guy pretending that he's in high school. He has a likability about him. And I know a lot of people like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and I like him too. He's fine, but he never came across likable to me. And maybe that's like a Tobey Maguire thing. I don't know. But Tom Holland has a likability. He has a relatability. I'm like, it seems like a dude I'd like to hang out with. So anyway, yeah, I like Spider-Man. No. I do like the character. It's just not my favorite character. I like bitter, angry, older characters when it comes to superheroes. The ones who have went through the trenches and have come out the other side dirty. The ones who will always justify the means by how the ends come to be. That's who I like. Anyway, let's go to the next one here. And by the way, Matt Logan, thank you for that very generous super chat. I hope that was a fulfilling answer for you, man, but thanks. Patrice Chaswick coming in here, who says, ever everything they would be a Marvel DC crossover. Imagine Hulk versus Superman, Batman versus Iron Man. Yeah, unfortunately, corporations are too greedy to get those creative things together and set aside their profit sharing. And it would be cool to see things like that. But, maybe one day at the very end, once we get superhero fatigue, which I think is like 5-10 years away, maybe they'll come to that conclusion where the studios will do whatever it takes to earn a profit. But I think we're far off from that point. And I don't think we'll ever see a Hulk versus Superman movie. I mean, come on. Superman wins. Come on, man. James Doshier, unless the Hulk wears like a kryptonite suit of armor, then okay, anything's possible. James Doshier says, named your favorite wrestler. Mine is The Undertaker as well as Stone Cold Steve Austin. Going back to the Attitude Era, yeah, Stone Cold was my dude. I also liked Mankind quite a bit. I enjoyed The Rock on the mic. Also, who was one of my most underrated wrestlers during the Attitude Era was definitely Shamrock. The dude actually looked like a legitimate fighter, and he was. I always thought they underutilized him. Jade Fitzpatrick says, what is your neighbor's name? I don't know what my neighbor's name is, to be honest with you. That way I can wear his skin and be your best friend and help you find the next best thing in lawn care accessories. Well, you don't have to be my neighbor to do that. Just send me a DM on Twitter, man. I'm always looking for lawnmower recommendations. I will tell you that. I don't even know my neighbor's name. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I don't know their name. It's probably for the best, though. It's definitely for the best they don't know mine. But thanks for the question. Michael Parton says, how well do you think The Flash will do financially? I think The Flash will do very well at the box office, to be honest with you, because I think it caters to everyone who likes modern day bright looking comic book movies. I think it caters to people of the nostalgic era who like Michael Keaton's Batman. And I think anytime you throw Batman into a movie, it's going to do well at the box office. And the fact that you can tell there's a whole bunch of other superheroes, it's going to be the movie. It comes out this week. I think it'll do very well. So yeah, I have faith that it'll do well at the box office. Do I really care how well it does? No, I don't have any stake in Warner Bros. I don't own stock. I don't care. I'm not part of the creative. I'm not part of the board of directors there. I don't get some bonus if the movie does well. So I really could care if it makes $7. But I do think the thing about DC right now is since James Gunn's taking over, it just feels like this is the last one of two final nails in the coffin before James Gunn takes over and reboots everything. But like I said, as someone just had a great question here, it says, how is Hulk gay? ? I don't know, man. Any guy who wears tight little magenta ripped up shorts into battle, I don't know. Hey, maybe it's a stylistic choice, but maybe he's signaling something out there. I don't know. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yes, the Flash movie. I think it'll do well at the box office. I really do, and I think it's almost going to be bittersweet when it does well. DC's going to go, oh man, we should have just been making movies like this 7 years ago. Then I mean, think about this. Like, they made Wonder Woman 1984. Like, they gave us that and said, this is a good movie. People will like this. No. I'm telling you, if you haven't seen The Flash, it's a crowd-pleasing movie. It really is. It's super entertaining. And with all that said, I hope Warner Bros. Is sending me my check in the mail. Okay, thank you. All right. I haven't seen it show up yet. Anyway, I'm just kidding. I was not paid to say these things. I will be honest with you. If it sucked, I would be the first one to tell you. It didn't. It was actually a movie I would go back and rewatch again. And I haven't been able to say that in a very long time. James Dozier says, have you seen the movie Open Range from 2003? Open Range 2003. Why does that sound like an animated chicken movie or something? It sounds like Chicken Run. Open Range. Let's see, man. Oh, it's a Kevin Costner Western movie. You know what? I don't think I have seen this. I haven't heard anyone else talk about it ever. It looks like a Western movie. I don't know. The poster looks a little bit generic. Looks like every other Western movie that's ever existed. But it's got a good rating, 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb, okay. I'm not opposed to watching it at some point. Looks interesting, okay. Thank you for the recommendation. I'll look into it. Juan Dowd says, after watching Guardians 3 and The Flash, both under James Gunn, do you have hope for the DCU? Yeah, I do. I think James Gunn is one of those creative heads that will allow storytellers and directors to actually share their vision. And what I mean by that is, if you look at most of the Marvel films, they all look the same. They all share the exact same tone, right? For good or bad, they share the same tone and color grading for the most part. And I think with the DCU, with James Gunn, who is a director himself and a creative dude, I think he'll allow people to kind of like take movies under their wing and make them and stylize them and give them their own touch of personality. And I'm looking forward to that. So, yeah, I think I have faith in it. I really do. I think he'll give people what they want to see. And if Guardians 3 is any indication, I have faith in it. I really do. So, yeah, I have hope. I'm just looking forward to the new Batman movie coming out. Just give me that shit now. That's what I need. Patrice Chaswick says, riding the multiverse wave, give me a old school... the question just... An old school simple tournament movie like 1995 Mortal Kombat, TMNT, Terminator, Kratos, Batman, etc., an epic soundtrack. Oh, you're saying like a multiverse movie where they have like a tournament with every cool character that's ever existed in a movie? Yeah, that'd be cool. Like, you know what? Like, Warner Bros. Owns the IP to so many different characters. I think they own the IP to Mortal Kombat, do they not? New Line Cinema, right? Yeah, Warner Bros. Owns Mortal Kombat, so they could actually do something like that. They could, in fact, have like a Justice League versus Mortal Kombat movie if they really wanted to. Will that happen? I don't know. I mean, but I would like to see it, sure. I'd like to see Scorpion fight Batman. Yes, please. Or no, yeah, I think Scorpion fighting Batman would be a cool scene. The next one comes from Legion, who says, thoughts on 1990 Spider-Man animated show. I watched that occasionally as a kid, quite enjoyed it, but what always got me super excited but never came to fruition was in the early 1990s or mid-1990s, James Cameron was actually trying to develop a live-action Spider-Man movie. And at one point, he wanted Schwarzenegger to play Doc Ock, which I thought would be pretty awesome. The fact that we never got that movie and the fact that it would have been directed by James Cameron, so you know the scope and tone would have been right and he would have spared no expense. That could have been awesome. Like, that would have been perfection. By the way, speaking of Arnold, has anyone watched the new Netflix documentary series about his life? So riveting, very fascinating. It's 3 episodes. I quite enjoyed it. That dude had like some kind of weird cheat card for life. He just knew exactly where to be, when to be there, and what to do to have like a 50-year career in stardom. Pretty awesome. Anyway, let's go to the next one. Pokemon Lover says, John, what's a movie that had you laughing your ass off at home or in the theaters? For me, there is a really funny scene in Beau is Afraid that involves a bunch of crazy homeless people. Sorry if that's a spoiler. That's not a spoiler at all. I have not seen the movie yet. I'm looking forward to watching it. I think it just hit VOD yesterday or the day before, and I might just spend $20 to watch it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. A movie that always had me laughing my ass off was, let's see. There's so many random scenes in like comedy movies that always just made me laugh. Oh man. Oh God. Like Superbad. There's like, I remember seeing that in theaters and there's just like a few off the wall references. Like, for example, I always laugh at things that aren't exactly supposed to be like the huge joke of the movie. I always laugh at like the little subtle lines. To me, that's more humorous. I enjoy subtleties in life. You know, the punchline isn't always the funniest line. So like in Superbad, I remember where they're sitting down in the cafeteria in the first act of the movie And Michael Cera is like, hey, I'm going to go do this thing as Jonah Hill's sitting there eating his food. He's like, you're going to let me eat lunch alone? Who the fuck am I, Steven Glansberg? And it shows Steven Glansberg, some just dude looking off into the distance, eating like pudding. For me, that made me laugh my ass off, and it still does. And I still use that line to my friends. I'm like, oh, you don't want to go eat with me? Who the fuck am I, Steven Glansberg? So yeah, that's one line that always made me laugh. That's super random. The next one comes from Night King of One, who says, thinking about the film Skyfall, and something about that film to me is just off. The action scenes are really slow and the plot makes no sense. They ripped off The Dark Knight and did it worse because James Bond just rips off popular films. You know the thing about Skyfall, and I do agree with everything you're saying, and a lot of people will clamor to the thing that Skyfall is the best James Bond. No, it's not. First of all, Casino Royale is the best James Bond movie, okay? That's not even a subjective opinion. That's objective. I could defend that movie objectively all day long. From every standpoint, it is by far the best James Bond movie. But beyond that point, the thing that Skyfall... Now, first of all, I do enjoy Javier Bardem as a villain. I think he's cool. He's sinister. His jaw's all dilapidated. I get it. You chew on a cyanide capsule, shit happens, right? But the problem with Skyfall is it just feels really convoluted and not inspired. For example, Javier Bardem, when his character escapes, it's the most convoluted thing that is just stupid. It's one of those things where it's just like, we're going to cram action in here because people like action scenes in a James Bond movie. But we didn't actually put forth any forethought of how this would actually work out. And there's always that one scene in that movie where Javier Bardem is climbing up out of a sewer, like a subway station or whatever, and he's like climbing up the ladder, and he's like, guess what, Bond, you didn't time this right. And all of a sudden an explosion goes off, and a subway car comes flying through at James Bond as he's climbing up a ladder. So you're telling me Javier Bardem timed this escape to the perfect T to blow up a wall, have a subway car fly through a wall, just so James Bond would have to dodge it. You're telling me he went through all of this to set that up. He couldn't just hire one guy with a gun to shoot James Bond, or maybe have an explosion or anything else. He literally had a subway car fly through the tunnel, blow up through a wall just to inconvenience James Bond for 5 minutes. That's the point in the movie where I went, this isn't exactly the most well thought out screenplay of all time. That's where I lost a little faith in the movie and thought, oh, this isn't really the thinking man's movie I was hoping it would be. So anyway, that's always been my point of contention with that movie. And thank you for reminding me of that. Payload says, what did you think of the new Batman movie? Robert Pattinson's The Batman movie? I have a 27-minute review over on the Flickpick channel where I talk about everything I liked and disliked. If you're bored, go watch it. I enjoyed it. I will say this, after rewatching it 10 times, it definitely has some flaws in the movie. I think it's a little too long for its own good. I really do. The best way to describe the Batman movie is it would have been the perfect 3-part HBO Max Batman series. It would have been perfect, right? If you could separate that movie into 3-hour episodes, perfect. Great. But the fact that it's one movie, it just feels like it originally was written to be like a series. For me, it does. That's how the pacing of that movie feels. And if you like that, there's nothing wrong with that, but it just feels not as well paced as it could. And some of the Riddler's clues I felt were a little bit underwhelming. The El Rata, Bat Rata, whatever thing, I thought was just kind of like a messy thing. But yeah, I love the tone of it. It definitely had like a Taxi Driver meets Batman vibe. But then again, so did the Joker. So DC definitely is following a blueprint when it comes to their gritty comic book movies. The next one comes from Kirk Hollick, who says, what are some television shows that you think are on par with high-class cinema? If you ask me, The Sopranos and Mad Men would compete against many classic movies in my eye. Oh, abso-fucking-lutely, man. Sopranos is phenomenal. It's great. It's one of those shows that the first, like, 4 seasons are phenomenal. I didn't love the later few episodes. I didn't like the last season, to be honest with you. But yeah, great, very well written show. And Mad Men was phenomenal as well. Mad Men is a show that I relate to maybe more than I want to admit. Don Draper for me is sort of like a very relatable character. He's a dude that has his flaws, but under pressure he can turn it on. He's creative. Yeah, I like his character. He's a flawed character, but at the same time you like him. And to me, that's what makes the best character. So, and plus it takes place in an advertising agency in the late 50s, 60s. I just like that time period. And what I would give to go in that time period and work in an office like that. Just take that how you will, but phenomenal shows. Dustin Rich here. How's it going, Dustin? And thanks for the great super chat, man. When I saw the original Jurassic Park in a theater, an old lady pointed at Sam Neill and loudly told her husband, "Now that's a man." I've always wondered if Sam Neill is popular with elderly women. I think Sam Neill has a look that maybe older women like. You know, he looks sophisticated and he looks, well put together, and he just has like this slight ruggedness to him, but he doesn't look too rugged. You know what I mean? So I get it. If I was a 47-year-old lady, I'd be all over Sam Neill, especially in Jurassic Park. Anyway, when he's wearing that little red bandana around his neck, oh my God, then that's sex appeal. What am I talking about right now? What am I doing with my life? Anyway, would you like to hear my story of seeing Jurassic Park in theaters in 1993 as a kid? Here it goes. I vividly remember it. Don't ask me why or how. But that's the weird thing about life. That's how I always known I was drawn to cinema. I can always remember when and where and who I was with when I watched every movie in the theater. It's like little bullet points that have always stuck with me. Anyway, I was a stupid little kid in 1993, and we watched Jurassic Park, and I remember, I don't know why, and I'm so mad at myself. I wish my parents would have beat me for my shortcomings as a child, but I remember crying. I like getting whiny during the Velociraptor kitchen scene as they're chasing little Timmy through the kitchen, and I was getting whiny. My dad took me out in the lobby for like 5 minutes, and I remember that. I don't know why I was crying or whiny. I don't know. But then I went back and watched the rest of the movie. So anyway, that's my story with Jurassic Park. And by the way, happy 30th anniversary to Jurassic Park a few days ago. You are going to have dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour. The next one comes from 50% Doctor Who podcast, who says, "Flicky Picky, do you like the Harry Potter films?" Listen, I understand them. My girlfriend loves the Harry Potter films. She's a diehard fan. She knows everything about anything. She played Hogwarts Legacy for, I think, 75 hours and completely 100% completed the game. I myself have seen most of the Harry Potter films. For me, I just don't latch on to them. Like the kids in the listen, when Harry Potter came out, you have to understand, I was like going into my teenage years, and it was like something I wasn't latching on to at the time. So I was never really into Harry Potter. Over the years, I've seen the films. I get the fantastical element to them. I get it. You know, the director of Home Alone, Chris Columbus, directed the first couple movies. I get it. I guess I've just never really latched onto any of the characters, and I think most people would agree with this. Harry Potter himself isn't all that likable of a character. Maybe he is to you. I don't know. He always rubbed my rhubarb the wrong way. Has anyone ever said that? Harry Potter has rubbed your rhubarb the wrong way? Maybe it's just me. I think I should go to the next question. DJ Run01 says, "Who had the bigger fall from grace, Shyamalan or Spielberg?" Man, aren't they both hit or miss these days? I would definitely say Spielberg had the bigger run of success. So no matter what, you can't take that away. You can say Shyamalan has had a few great movies in his filmography. I mean, maybe more than a few. I like Shyamalan. You know, I'm always looking forward to his movies, but it's like you get a great one and then you get a terrible one. Or you get a good movie and then he just doesn't know how to end his movie. I don't know what it is with that guy. It's like, why don't you have someone look at the ending of your movie next time you write the screenplay and maybe give you another thought or another opinion on it? Because it's just like, I feel like you run out of steam by the third act of your movies, M. Night. And I know he's watching right now. Anyway, Spielberg lately, I feel like he kind of lost his juice. You know, he had so many, you can only have so many iconic movies that will stand the test of time, and he has. You can't take those away from Spielberg. You just can't. But lately, the last great Spielberg movie I have loved, oh my God, I'd be hard-pressed to pick one. Minority Report or Catch Me If You Can. After that, I don't even know. Like, you watch a movie, and I think I had a question last week. John, what was a movie that should have been great that wasn't? And you know what? Randomly the other day, I came to the answer to that question, and it was Ready Player One. A movie that could have easily been great. Like, if that movie came out 20 years ago, I think it would have blown audiences away. But the version that we got from Spielberg, and I know it's based on a novel, so, you know, there's only so much you can pull from the source material or do differently, but just what a lackluster movie. You know, just what an instantly forgettable modern-day movie that just made you feel nothing. And it just was, it felt like an AI version. Like, if you said, okay, AI, Chat GPT, give me your best rendition of a Spielberg movie. Like, that's the screenplay that AI would shit out. But the magic and the heart and the pulse just wasn't there. Mike Snow says, Sam Neill tested for James Bond in the 1980s, and I think he would have been a great one. I could see Sam Neill being a decent James Bond, but at the same time, he's missing... Sam Neill doesn't really have that vibe where I buy him kicking ass. You know what I mean? I don't know. I can't see. I just don't buy Sam Neill ever like shooting someone. I can't buy it. But being a paleontologist, absolutely. Sure. Why not? Night King 01 back again, who says to continue off with my last point about Bond, maybe a hot take, but most of the Bond films suck. Most just feel like exploitation B films with big budgets rip off whatever's popular at the time. Well, most Bond films are derivative of the time period they're in, but I think that's what makes them great. You have a 1960s Bond film, it kind of has a 1960s vibe. A 70s Bond movie has that vibe, you know? It's definitely within the culture of the time period they come out in. And I think that's the great thing about the Bond films, is they sort of feel like a time capsule every time you watch one of them. Like, you watch like Moonraker and you're like, oh, this definitely feels like the time period it was made in. And I think things like that are great. So, you know what? I don't think I'm going to disagree with you. Most Bond films don't suck. I think they do what they should. I just don't love most Bond films. So I think that's like a subjective thing. I don't know. I have a buddy who loves all the Bond films. James Dozier says, imagine the next Fast and Furious movie going to a different planet and Vin Diesel battles against aliens. Yeah, we already had that. It's called Riddick. At this point, you know what? Please, I don't care what they do. They've already done everything. They've jumped this shark. Vin Diesel has superpowers. He's flipping over cars. They're immune to bullet penetration at this point, and no one gives a shit. No one gives a shit about the Fast and Furious franchise, except Universal Studios, because every time you use 4 seconds of their footage in a movie review, they copyright claim that shit, and they say, oh no, this isn't a review for the movie, even though it is a review. No, they still copyright claim it, because they need every penny they can get, because no one's going to see the new Fast and Furious movies because they fucking suck. So audiences are tired. Fatigue has set in. I don't know why they're still making these movies. I couldn't tell you. And I believe the new Fast and Furious movie, Fast X, bloated and too slow, is I think it's like in the negative, like $150 million in the negative at this point or something like that, which is great news because I don't care. Everyone behind those movies is already a millionaire. They have nothing to lose. And I say, you know what? Take the movie and do anything else. Take that money you were going to spend on the next Fast and Furious movies and just make anything else. Just make anything else. Make 20 great original movies and go that direction. Sure, not all of them are going to be hits and they're not relying on IP. I get it. But I'm sure a few of them will be success stories. I don't know. That's where I'm at. But people say I hate movies anymore. No, it's not that I hate movies. I just hate bad, terrible, bloated pieces of trash that people still call cinema. Fast X is not cinema, okay? That's everything wrong. That's a cancer in Hollywood that should be eradicated and cut out immediately. Let's go to the next question. All right, the next one, the next one comes from Vin Diesel. John, don't you believe in family? That's not a real question. But the next question really comes from Mega YouTube 99, who says DC versus Mortal Kombat was actually a video game, John. I know that. I know. That's why he said it. I know. I played it. Carter Lovejoy says, have you heard about the new HBO show called The Idol that's been getting a lot of negative reception from both critics and audiences? It's credited by The Weeknd and the guy behind Euphoria. What is it called? The Idol? That sounds vaguely that sounds vaguely familiar to me. The new show, HBO show, The Idol. Let me look that up. Hang on. The Idol. Is it a show I care about? Let's see. The Idol. After having nervous breakdown that caused the cancellation of her last tour, an aspiring pop star begins a complicated blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't know. Is that Johnny Depp's daughter? I don't know. I don't care about it, to be honest with you, man. I don't know. It's probably not a show I'll watch anytime soon. I have not heard anything about it, but I don't usually run in the circles that talk about it, so I don't know. But thanks for the question, Carter. Billy M says, how's Uncle Gary? Some things a kid shouldn't see. Uncle Gary's, I'm sure, fine. He's probably in a padded cell right now wearing a straitjacket, which is the best thing for all of humanity and society. So I'm sure he's fine. Gabe DeGenova says, Remy versus Stuart Little, fight who wins. Remy versus Stuart Little? Who's Remy? Is Remy the name of the mouse from another movie I can't think of right now? Is that the name? No, is that the name of the mouse from that's not the Ratatouille mouse, is it? No? I don't know. I'll go with Stuart Little. Isn't he voiced by Michael J. Fox? And because of that reason, I'll go with Stuart Little. The next one comes from Charles Taff, who says, Full Metal Jacket is considered a movie with 2 long episodes. First half is far superior. Isn't Jaws the same way, though? First half is great, but second half is probably the best hour of cinema. Yeah, you're right. You know, talking about Full Metal Jacket, by the way, Charles, thanks for the great super chat here. Full Metal Jacket, I always enjoy the boot camp training sequence. To me, that is the movie. Once they get to Vietnam, it just doesn't feel like Vietnam because they shot most of that on some dilapidated warehouse set in England, and they just planted some palm trees or whatever. To me, the second half of Full Metal Jacket, I don't like it, to be honest with you. Me so horny, that's great, that's iconic, but beyond that, the boot camp is what that movie is and should have been more of. The other part of the question was talking about Jaws. You know, once they get to the boat and they're hunting down Jaws himself, there's something about the eeriness of these 3 men just being stuck on this boat in the middle of the ocean with only each other. And to me, I love it. So in a way, I get how you could say the second half is great, but it's only because of the buildup of the first half of that movie that sets the stage for that second half that you buy into the stakes being so high. The danger, the element, it's real. So it's one of those movies, without the first half of Jaws, the second half doesn't mean anything. So in a way, I get what you're saying, but I think they both need each other. Full Metal Jacket, first half doesn't need the last half. Optimistic Forever says, not getting dark at all, but what movie quote do you want carved on your epitaph? Did I say that right? I feel like I'm not saying that right. Anyway, don't just look at it, eat it. It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me. I don't know. Either one of those. But I'll go with the first one. Do you like Huey Lewis in the News? That'll be it. Graham Hoddle says, take some gummies and watch Beau is Afraid. That's the plan, man. That's the plan. Mikey Weiss says, how's it going, by the way, Mikey, man? How's it going? How's life going? Hey, John, hope you're doing well. I was in Fort Wayne this week for work. It was magical. Why do we live in Indiana? Also, favorite opinion at Taco Bell, or favorite option at Taco Bell? Well, I do remember one time I went to Taco Bell and they didn't have ice, and then I got the cinnamon twist, and they literally taste like spray paint. Like they taste like chemicals. I don't know what was going on with that. Anyway, why do we live in Indiana? It's safe, it's secure, and it's cheap. And we're 2 hours away from every major metropolis that you'd actually want to go to. Beyond that, favorite option at Taco Bell, I always get I'll get like 4 soft shell tacos and 4 hard shell tacos. Or a chalupa. Or what's the thing? Oh my God, I can't remember what it's called. The flat thing. It's flat and has chicken in it. Chicken something. What am I thinking of right now? But what I most enjoy at Taco Bell these days is they have a diet version of the Baja Blast. When you drink a Baja Blast with Taco Bell, it's just like a rush of energy from 1995. It tastes like you're swimming in the ocean and it just riding a shark. That's the best way I can describe a Baja Blast. Crunchwrap, chalupa, are those it? Maybe I'm thinking of a chalupa. I don't know. Let's just all agree everything at Taco Bell is the same shit, just called something else. It's all the same shit. It's dog food meat mixed with some cheese, some lettuce, some hot sauce, in a different variation. It's all the same shit. I mean, let's come on. Let's be honest here. Quesadilla. That's what chicken quesadilla. That's what I'm thinking of. Thank you for that. The Cali Kid says, do you think they should continue the Back to the Future universe? If the original creators are involved, I think it could be great. I know the popular cool thing to say is, oh man, don't fuck with the classic. But, I was just watching Back to the Future last night. It was my go-to-bed movie. That was my go-to-bed movie last night, the first Back to the Future, which I think is so good. It's the perfect movie. It really is. If you told me to pick the perfect movie, it's the first Back to the Future. There's no fat on that bone. None. But if the original creators had a script and it was no, I'm not a remake. Come on now, don't put words in my mouth. If it was a continuation of the story of the original Back to the Future movies, I would be okay with that because I think that's such a great concept. And if you could pick a talented director who was going to give you that Zemeckis tone that felt like the 1980s all over again, I would take it. I would love to see that. I would. So yeah, I'd be cool with that. And thanks for the question, Cali Kid. Zepsy Cinema says, I saw you watch Patriots Day. Thoughts? Oh, I really enjoyed it. I've been in this weird kick of watching like watching movies. I'm watching a lot of non-fictional true life story thrillers. I'm like me and my lady friend. That's the genre we've been in, right? Because we just want something exciting and adrenaline heavy that kind of like pushes the limits, but really, like this really happened in reality. So it just adds a little bit to it. And so I enjoyed Patriots Day. I had never seen it for some odd reason. I just wasn't in the mood to watch it. Something about movies based on like tragic events, I need more time to watch it. You know what I mean? Not because I'm sensitive or something, but just because I don't know. To me, like watching it later just adds more to it. Anyway, I quite enjoyed the movie. I think it was really fascinating how the FBI kind of tracked down the bombers. So yeah, I love Patriots Day. Really good movie. And also, I haven't looked into the actual events of it, but like the shootout scene in that movie, I was like, holy shit, I didn't know this was this dramatic. I didn't know like it was as action packed as it was. I didn't comprehend like there was that much after the fact. So that was cool. But recently we watched Everest, which I had seen in IMAX back in like 2015 when it came out. And I had not watched it since then. And we watched that on in our bedroom. We have a projector in our bedroom. And we watched that. And that was better than I remember it being. It just like man, it's a good adrenaline ride. But right before that, we watched another mountain climbing movie, which is not based on real events whatsoever. It's completely batshit crazy, called Vertical Limit. So if you want to watch a really good adrenaline-induced movie where they literally strap, what do they strap? Not nitrogen. They strap the explosive devices to their back. Not plutonium. Nitrogen? What am I thinking? What is the explosive device they use in Vertical Limit? Hydroglycerin. Hydroglycerin? I think that's what it is. Anyway, that's a good time. If you've never seen Vertical Limit, my recommendation to you is, if you want like a pure adrenaline thrill ride movie that just feels like it's straight out of the 90s, even though it came out in 2000, go watch Vertical Limit. And it still holds up. Like, I think the effects still look pretty good. If not, they look 99% better than most modern day Marvel movies. It wasn't C4. It was nitroglycerin. That's what they used. Nitroglycerin. Because if you're going to do a rescue mission on a mountain and you want to up the stakes, what do? Every rescue team going up to the mountain should have nitroglycerin strapped to them. Because why not? All right, the next one comes from Rod Thunderheart. How's it going, Rod? Hail, John. Reasonably sure you haven't seen 3 Days in Havana. I highly recommend the Canadian film. Can't say anything, least I spoil it. 3 Days in Havana. Why does that sound so familiar? 3 Days in Havana. Let's see. 3 Days in Havana. Did you mention this to me before? This looks vaguely similar. I have not seen this. Looks like a very moderately budgeted film. Okay, that's something else we shouldn't be clicking on. Havana. Yeah, I'll look into it, man. I have not seen it, but thank you for the recommendation. I will add it to the list. And how's it going, Rod? I think Rod drives trucks and arm wrestles and writes books. Anyway, the next one comes from Night King 01, who says, not only that, John, Javier Bardem pays an assassin to go to Shanghai, knowing that Bond would be strong enough to kill him. Pay him with a casino chip to go. This is getting really complicated, and I'm too drunk to read this. Go to, what the fuck are we saying here? Yes, I agree. The plot is a bit convoluted. It just felt like sometimes in most James Bond movies, it's like, okay, we need to go to this exotic location because we want Komodo dragons in the background as Bond talks. How do we get him there? I know. And they come up with this really convoluted bullshit reason that he goes there and does it. And there's a henchman that fights him, but you just know it's stupid. It's like if you just had 3 guys fight him rather than 1 because you're this billion-dollar villainous dude. Yeah, but we have to suspend disbelief, don't we? That's how we get through some of these movies. Anyway, the next one comes from Graham Hoddle, who says, I watched The Batman with live orchestra and the intermission, and it made the perfect ending. There was 30-minute break after the Penguin car chase. Oh, you watched The Batman. Okay. Ooh, you watched it with a live orchestra? That's kind of cool. Huh. That's kind of cool, man. I would definitely check that out. I would almost rather see Batman 89 with a live orchestra. To me, that would be almost a little more iconic. Or maybe The Dark Knight with a live orchestra. But that's cool, man. I dig it. Pretty cool. I saw, we talked about Harry Potter movies earlier, but I did see Prisoner Azkaban with a live orchestra once in Nashville, Tennessee, 5 years ago. That's kind of, I think it adds to a movie anytime you have a live orchestra. Thanks for the question, though, Graham. Night King 01 back at it again. Here we go. Munich is a great Spielberg film, though the only thing I have against the film is that if it was someone else, I think that would have been better, if you know what I'm saying. It feels like anyone could have directed it, but still, nonetheless. Well, yeah, I get it, but you have to understand that was about a team of mercenaries. Wasn't it a team of all Jewish mercenaries or something like that? Wasn't that the kicker of it? And also Steven Spielberg himself is Jewish, so I get why they would get a Jewish director. it's been a long time since I've watched Munich. And it's one of those movies I've been meaning to go back and watch, though. So I'm not going to complain on who should have directed Munich because I don't really have anything specifically to say. Oh, this could have been better because this. It's been so long since I've watched it. I might add that to the list. I feel like since we're talking about like real life stories and suspense, I feel like watching that now. I was going to show my girlfriend the movie Alive. And if you don't know what Alive is, it's this, I believe this Italian soccer team. I've seen it like 3 or 4 times, but they crash land on the side of a mountain. Okay. True story. Actually happened. And it resorts to cannibalism. And that's one of those fundamental life questions you have to ask yourself as an individual. Would I eat my best friend? And yes, I would. The next one comes from Kirk Hollick, who says, would you rather be a passenger in Travis Bickle's taxi, cameraman for Lou Bloom, or Patrick Bateman's Blockbuster clerk renting him videotapes? The one that sounds the least threatening would be Patrick Bateman's video store clerk. But I like to be on the edge. And I think being Lou Bloom's cameraman would be the position for me. And I'll tell you why. Not only would I excel at that position, and I would be vice president of the company, and I would get the raise I want, but I think I would do a very good job. And oddly enough, take this how you will, and I think some people are going to take it the wrong way, and that's fine by me. I don't care. Am I a sociopath? No. But do I get along with them? Yes, I do. I would like to work as a night crawler. I think that would allow me to utilize all my attributes, my creativity. And also, I like getting into sticky situations because that's just how I am. I don't know. So, yes, I would like to be a camera operator for Lou Bloom. The name of the company is Video Production News, a professional news gathering service. That is how it should be read, and that is how it should be said. The next one comes from, let's see. Comes from Phil Moon, who says, who was the first movie character or just actress you had a crush on as a child? Mine was Leah Thompson as Lorraine McFly from Back to the Future. Not a bad pick. Not a bad pick. Hey, you like chicks who like their kids. I get it, man. If I had to be hard pressed to pick one or pick a few, for some odd reason as a kid, I was always drawn to... I have two. Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman in Batman Returns, 1992, because how could you not? I need a bath. Oh God, kitty litter. And also Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct. I just remember watching both those movies as a kid and going, oh, I feel something. The next one comes from... I had another weird answer for you, but I don't want to say it. Because it sounds really weird. I don't know. But also as a kid, Princess Jasmine kind of did something for me. I don't know. The next one comes from Elliot Cecil, who says, I hate that people at Warner Bros. Are excusing Ezra Miller's behavior, when in reality, we should be arresting him for at least life. Listen, I'm at the point where I don't care. Like, it's just, I think at some point in life, now, to a certain degree, no. There's some unforgivable things that people do that should never be forgiven, and they should never work in Hollywood again, and they should be on some kind of weird predator list for the rest of their lives. Absolutely. Now, for everything that Ezra Miller's done, yeah, it doesn't seem like the best dude ever. He seems a little bit out there. But sometimes you have to separate the artist from the art. And, I don't know. I don't know. Do you want me to make a political statement here? Here's my political statement. I don't have a dog in the fight, nor do I care either way. Now, if Ezra Miller was an offender against children, which I guess you could make the argument somewhere, somehow, there was a little something weird going on. But to me, that's unforgivable. But, I guess if the authorities don't see enough there, then so be it. But then again, let's be honest. Aren't most people in Hollywood monsters underneath? The next one comes from Elliot No, the next one comes from Legion, who says, John, I want to hear your thoughts. Should Sam Raimi direct another horror movie like MCU movie? You know, watching Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, it definitely had some Sam Raimi vibes to it, but man, I don't know. I don't need him to direct another movie. I'm not like clamoring at the thought of it. And maybe that's just the screenplay of the movie's fault. But really, it felt so blah to me, what he did with Multiverse of Madness. Like, there's a few very Sam Raimi-esque shots and vibes throughout the movie, but man, just the screenplay, I don't know. Sure, why not? I mean, I'd much rather watch another Sam Raimi MCU movie than another what's the director of Thor Ragnarok? Taika Waititi. I'd much rather watch like a Sam Raimi MCU movie than another Taika Waititi MCU movie. Gus Babington says, question. You can time travel to any point in history, but you have to take a shot of Pigeon Lady's sweat. Do you do it? If so, when and where do you go? Man, that's a great question. Do I want to go see the crucifixion of Jesus Christ? Do I want to be on the lifeboat of one of the lifeboats of the Titanic as I watch it break apart? I don't know. Would I like to go back to the Roman Colosseum and watch people fight in a gladiator pit? I think that'd be kind of cool to go back to for a day and do such things. Yes, absolutely. I can tell you it would definitely be the ancient time period just to kind of get a vibe. Like, that would be awesome. And would I drink an ounce of the Pigeon Lady's sweat to do such a thing? Ooh, that's a great question. I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to make the sacrifice. I want to see a Roman gladiator fight, so I'm probably going to do it. Yes, I would. The next one comes from Z White, who says, hey, John, guess what? Gabby the cat loves you. Meow. Well, meow right back to you. Billy M says, should Ezra Miller be cast in Shelby Oaks? Sure, yes. Why not? Why not? Yes. I'm sure he could help enhance it. Yeah. Night King 01 says, speaking of Fast and Furious, I watched Fast 5 the other day, and it's so obvious that it was supposed to be the end of the franchise. When you watch it, it should have been that all along. Yeah, that's the thing about Fast 5. For me, that was the last acceptable, entertaining Fast and Furious movie. It's like, okay, you guys are pushing the limits. All right, I can buy this. But then after that, it just goes off the rails to the point of just you don't care about what anyone's doing because neither do they. So yeah, you know, in my opinion, when Paul Walker passed away, you're done. It's done. I think we're done here. That should have been it. You're good. Done. Stop doing what you're doing. So yeah, I agree. Fast 5 was the last good Fast and Furious movie. Rod Thunderheart says, have you played PS Back to the Future? It continues the film. Have you played PS Back to the... I don't know what PS Back to the Future is, man. So I have not played it. I don't know what that is. Oh, the PlayStation Back to the Future game. No, I did see that. I watched some gameplay footage of it, and I didn't like the way it looked. It looked very cartoony and goofy to me, and I didn't like the look of it. So maybe that's a stupid reason not to play it, but I never got into it. Jonathan Camacho says, hey, John, I'm high, and that question about Stuart Little made me think about how crazy it would be to talk to a mouse that sounds like Michael J. Fox. Take care. Yeah, it would be. I once talked to a cat that sounded like Nicolas Cage, and I mean that when it did. It sounded like that. I mean it. It sounded like Nicolas Cage is a cat. I vividly, I thank you for unlocking that memory. I never knew I remembered. Wow. So in that sense, yes, it would be fucking weird to talk to a mouse that sounded like Michael J. Fox. But at the same time, wouldn't it be great if you had like a little mouse who was your best friend? Wouldn't that just be everything you ever wanted? I don't know. Call me crazy. The next one comes from Jonathan Camacho, once again, who says, my brother is asking, how do you stay so handsome? I don't know, man. I try to stay young. The good lighting helps. I will be honest with you. Good lighting takes 5 years off your face. I assure you it does. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm really inside. I know sometimes I look like I'm 25, even though I'm 36, but I feel 57. Does that make any sense? I'm in a weird paradox. I don't look how I feel, and I don't feel how I act, and I don't act how I look. Does that make any sense? I don't think that made sense, but thank you for that. Good lighting. That is the key, man. And moisture. I'm going to tell you this. The key to life is moisture. Okay? Don't listen. I know we talk about movies, haha, but I'm helping you guys. This is the best advice I can ever give you. Moisture. When you go past age 30, moisturize every day. Just put a little extra on. It's okay. It ain't going to hurt you. All right? Let's go to the next question. Zepsy Cinema says, John, the rest of my question, I'm making a no-budget feature. It's a dark, seedy detective noir with horror elements. Advice to get the flick approval. Man, there's so many things I don't even know where to start with that. I would say, don't make your film noir movie feel like a cliche. Don't do what 87 other movies have already done, because yours isn't going to be better than those movies. So when someone watches yours, they're going to go, oh yeah, that's like that movie and this movie, but not as good. So definitely come up with some original thing, right? I would say let that opening scene in your film, whatever the mysteries surrounding it, whatever the big follow-up is, set the precedent in that opening scene. Blow your audience away, right? It doesn't have to be I know you said you don't have a budget. That's cool, man. But if there's some kind of violent murder that takes place, fucking go for it, man. Get people hooked. That would be my recommendation. Just try to be original with it. That's the best advice I can give you. Optimistic Forever says, is Mega Replay a nationwide store? I don't think it's nationwide. It's definitely a franchise store. I know it exists. It's in Indiana. I don't know how far the franchise goes. So I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I need to get in touch with them. I should do I need to do like a sponsorship with them, or like they should give me like a gift card or something. I feel like I've promoted them for the last decade, and I haven't even gotten a simple thank you or a fucking follow back on Twitter. Thanks for nothing, Mega Replay, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Okay? All the press and publicity and business I've given you, you've given me nothing in return except odd looks whenever I talk to my video camera. Anyway, I don't know if it's nationwide, man, but it should be. It's a cool store. If I was rich, I'd definitely buy a franchise of it. I will tell you that right now. And I will say my faith in physical media, I still keep it. And I'll tell you why. Every time I go into Mega Replay, which is a physical used media store, they sell video games and like used shit and movies, it's always pretty busy. There's always a line of people buying stuff. People are always in there shopping. So I think there's still a need and a want to go buy physical media. Like, it's fun. People crave that. So I definitely think there's something to be said there. The next one comes from Juan Dowd, who says, I had a crush on Danielle Fishel from, Topanga from Boy Meets World. Yeah. And Sandra Bullock, Annie from Speed. Yes, Sandra Bullock and Speed, I think we all agreed, we all had crushes on her. And as a kid, you just unlocked a memory I forgot I had. That's why I like you guys. You guys go deep inside of my core and my being. The deep recesses that even the most advanced psychologists could never get to, but you guys unlock these deep, dark, internal thoughts. But as a kid watching Speed, I did have a thing for Sandra Bullock. Not only that, when I went to get a haircut, probably in like 97, I wanted a haircut like Jack from Speed. He kind of had like a buzz cut. I was like, that's cool. That's what the chicks like. So yeah, I agree with you. And Topanga from Boy Meets World, yes. And she actually aged exactly how like you would think she would look. So yeah, I get it, man. Andy Sanchez says, hello, John. I just saw all your flick trip videos. It took me 2 days to watch 106 videos. I can tell you your voice is a lot deeper compared to 2011 John Flickinger. You know, my voice, to be honest with you, has not changed that much. Now, you're listening to me on a nice mic that's very sexy and bassy. You're listening to the soothing sounds of Flick Pick 101 in the morning. Next up is our number one jazz hit, Don't just look at it, eat it. But no, the thing with my early videos on YouTube is I'm going to blame the microphone. It was the tech. Because my first mic, or my first camera that I used on YouTube was a flip cam, like a shitty little flip cam. If you guys are old like me, you might remember them. They were shitty. Like, we didn't have smartphones that had 4K capabilities. No, I'm an old man, damn it. I grew up with VHS and flip cams. So the original flip cam, first of all, it looked shitty, but the mic sounded like you were screaming through a tin can. So I don't think that helped with my voice. Also, I think talking on YouTube for so long and hearing myself talk, you kind of just formulate a way to present your thoughts and your voice that works for you. When I talk, I like to flow. Blah, blah, blah. I speak in like a rhythm. So maybe I've just learned to speak this way, or maybe my voice has gotten deeper. I mean, I was a little bit younger. Maybe my testosterone wasn't at an all-time high. Actually, it was probably low, to be honest with you, when I started YouTube, because I was in my early 20s. I wasn't doing much with my life. I wasn't physically active. I was like skinny and malnourished. I didn't have enough muscle mass in my frame. So you know what? To be honest with you, maybe my testosterone was just slightly low and my voice was a little bit high-pitched at the time. I don't know. A little bit of everything, I like to say. But thank you for that. And thank you for watching all 106 Flick Trip videos. Fuck yeah, man. Thank you for that. I will tell you guys this, because someone just left a comment the other day, and I said this on a live show a long time ago. And by the way, thanks to all 288 of you beautiful badasses looking at my disgusting face right now. I do thank you for that. But I do want to say I did have an idea for the ultimate Flick Trip movie. Flick Trip across the U.S. Anyway, I had a great idea, and I wanted to do like a GoFundMe, but I don't know. It felt weird. It felt weird to like take money to, I don't know. But I had a good idea for it. I was definitely going to interview people and go to a lot of cool movie filming locations. And what I was going to do with most of the money, if I could do a GoFundMe for Flick Trip, the movie, it'd be like a documentary, or maybe an episodic documentary of sorts, is I was going to try to film it in a fucking DeLorean. I wanted to film the Flick Trip in a DeLorean and go across the U.S. to all these cool places. But that was my idea. And maybe one day it'll come to fruition. I don't know. But if you want to see something like that, let me know. Your voice in the Hilariosity reviews was deep as F, Buff John. Yeah, you know, I don't know. I think I was trying to give you guys a good character at the time. I was trying to be me, but 199% the most outrageous version of myself. So anyway, someone says I miss VHS sometimes. You know what? Me too. Sometimes looking at the soft visual style of a VHS movie with a little bit of tracking issue just kind of adds to, like, it gives like a little heartbeat when you watch the film. It feels like it's live and dancing. You know what I mean? Is that weird? Like when I see something that's so new and digital and 4K, it just looks flat and dead. I'm like, where's the heartbeat here? Where's the soul? Maverick says your traps were huge. Yeah, man. You know, the thing is, I think I was always blessed with pretty good trap genetics. Like if I just work out traps, they just pop up. Like if I went back to the gym for like 3 months and worked traps, they pop right back up. It's just, I don't know. But the thing is, most men, your androgen receptors are in your traps. So one of the first muscles to see like an increase in definition and size is your trapezius muscles. So FYI, if you want to look big, man, work out your traps. That's what Tom Hardy did. Andy Sanchez says, I finally saw the Rock movie 1996. It's such a good movie. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. Absolutely. Also, how in the name of Zeus's butthole did you get out of your cell? You know, another great line. TJ says, I sent a Streamlabs question. TJ, your question's right here, man. I'm going to read that question right now. It just popped up, buddy. Here it goes. Hey, John, how's it going, man? Do you have a movie you watched and didn't mind it, but when you watched it later, you loved it? For me, it was The Irishman. When it came out, I liked it, but found no rewatchability. Now I watched it 4 times in the past 2 weeks and love it. Yeah, absolutely, man. I've answered this questions or similar questions to this before, and a few that always hit home with me were so real quick, you guys know I love Nightcrawler. First time I watched it, I really enjoyed it, but it took like 3 more viewings to like love it as much as I did. But another movie I watched for the first time and was like, I don't care, was There Will Be Blood. I was like, I kind of like it, but it's not what I thought it was going to be. And so upon rewatch, I'm like, oh man, I love movies like this, like time period movies, slow burns, a lot of character, just weird iconic scenes and dialogue that doesn't feel like substandard dialogue written by some AI generator making a screenplay. So no, There Will Be Blood is always the one that kind of comes to mind as like one movie that didn't really care about the first time I watched it, then kind of grew to love it and really appreciate it. So I'd say that's like my go-to one. All right, guys, I'm going to answer just a few more questions tonight, and because I'm getting hungry, it's midnight, and I need to go eat something. I don't know what I want. I don't know. Frozen pizza sounds good, but I don't think I have any, so I might just munch on some ice cream bars. I don't know. By the way, before I go, and if you guys have, if you guys have a couple more questions, I'll get them in. So go ahead and submit those right now. And if you guys are YouTube members, please chime in. I've been trying to keep up on the normal chat, but it's been moving really quick tonight. But I do have a couple new 4K movies to talk about. The first one was John Wick Chapter 4. This was sent to me. Now, this is on 4K. Nice cover. I like it. I love that. That's sexy. For me, John Wick 4 was probably my favorite, visually speaking, of the John Wick franchise. Now, I know the first one is great. Motivation for revenge. Some dudes killed his dog. Yes, go murder those motherfuckers, please. Stomp their skulls in and chew their brains as bubblegum, Keanu Reeves. Yes, I support that. But going into John Wick Chapter 4, you know, the second John Wick and the third John Wick, I was like, I wasn't really in love with him. Never had the urge to rewatch him. But the fourth one, I loved it. And there were so many iconic scenes in this movie. And there's like a nice throwback to the 1970s movie, The Warriors. And just visually speaking, it looks cool. Like, it's a cool looking movie. And each sequence separates itself from the other one. So big fan of this, and I can't wait to watch it on 4K. I have a movie review of John Wick 4 on the Flickpick channel if you want to check it out. The next one is, I don't know if many people would consider this a classic. I most certainly do, but it's Maximum Overdrive on 4K. Is this 4K? No, this is just Blu-ray. Let me open it up. Hang on. Now, Maximum Overdrive is a movie based on a Stephen King novel. And this was also directed by Stephen King. And I think in the 1980s, he was high on cocaine. And Stephen King himself would probably say it's not his best work ever when it comes to directorial debut. But anyway, yeah, this is just a Blu-ray. Anyway, Maximum Overdrive is a fun 1980s guilty pleasure starring Emilio Estevez. Always enjoyed this movie. It's where inanimate objects or machinery, because of some kind of weird comet passing by Earth, come to life. It's like AI has come to life. And now we have ice cream trucks killing people. We have big rigs driving over people. It's a phenomenal movie. And as a young man, this was everything I've ever wanted to see when it comes to cinema. But yeah, cool steelbook. Look at that. That's what home media should look like. That's cool. You know, look at that cover, man. Look at that. That's sexy. You got the artwork here on the disc. So looking forward to revisiting that on a rainy day. And the last movie I have that was sent to me on 4K, last but certainly least, is Adam Driver's 65. You know what? The concept of this movie is everything I would want to see in a movie. It's a futuristic sci-fi movie. You have dinosaurs. You got Adam Driver. Fuck, give it to me now. I'm ready. But then you go into this movie, and it's like the most substandard version of everything that I just told you. It's like, we have dinosaurs, but they're there for like 3 seconds, and the CG looks a little bit blah, and you know, not much happens. It's like all these great high concepts, but executed in the most boring way they could be presented to you. So, yeah, I think this movie had potential. It just wasn't quite there. For me, this felt like what a Netflix movie would be. Like if Netflix spent $300 million on the next big original Netflix movie, they probably make something like this, but at the same time, it's like such a waste of potential. It looked fine. The visuals at times looked good. I liked Adam Driver, but just the story and where it went. There's one sequence where they're stuck in a cave, and it just feels like the movie clearly ran out of money, so we're trying to use up as much screen time in this cave as we can because it's cheap to shoot this set. But the cave itself looked like it was like made in Universal Studios. It looked plasticky and not real. I don't know. Did you guys like 65? Let me know. All right. Marcus F says, initial reaction to the last scene in The Flash. The very last scene, well, there's an end credit scene, which kind of sucks. And then there's that very last scene, which I think was funny. It was fan service. I'm not going to spoil it. I liked it, but I'm kind of confused how it made sense, if that makes any sense. But the very last end credit scene, kind of stupid. The next one comes from Mike's Movie Talk, who says, do you think Back to the Future 3 is good? It's definitely the weakest link of the trilogy. Yes, absolutely. Do I think it's fun and adventurous? Yes. It ends the way it should, but at the same time, it just felt like the screenplay was the weakest. The stakes felt like the lowest. I think Back to the Future 3 should have been a culmination of going into the future more and also going back to the future in the Wild West, if that makes any sense. I would have liked to seen a little more like going further into the future and also back in the 1800s to some degree. Somehow maybe like, but you know, it's simple. It's a Western movie more or less. My least favorite thing about Back to the Future is definitely the Doc Brown and Sarah love storyline. I just think like, every time, as soon as they get introduced to Sarah in the movie, Doc Brown's love interest, I'm just like, this is like the part I don't like. But I get it. Doc Brown has to have a happy ending, so I get it. The next one comes from Skywalker, who says, do you miss Walmart being open 24/7? Not only do I miss it, I get cravings for it. You know how many times it's been like midnight? I'm like, oh man, if Walmart was open right now, I would go shoot a video in Walmart. Like I'm telling you guys, that's been the biggest hiccup for like the last 2 years. Like when it comes to like vlog videos, my best vlog videos ever were shot in Walmart at 3:00 in the morning. No one can judge you. Okay. So yeah, I miss it. And I hate society and I hate the version of life that we live in because we had the great reset of 2020 where it's like, oh, all these things that we had, we just don't have anymore, including customer service and freedoms and liberties. But beyond all of that, I miss it. It's like, why in 2023 are places not open 24/7, but 4 years ago they were? It feels like we're going backwards. It's like, as a society, we live in like a time where people work from home. They have remote jobs. They have third shift jobs. And the fact that you don't have like the biggest chain corporation having stores open 24 hours a day, it baffles me. And the thing is, that also gives people jobs who can only work third shift more opportunities. And plus, I think Walmart, in fact, has people in the store working and stocking the shelves at night, but they're just not open. And you would think from like a business standpoint, if you already have employees at your store, they're there, all the lights are on, why not allow people to come in there and buy shit? I don't know. Call me crazy. The next one comes from Mike's Movie Talk. Rank the original Transformers trilogy. Well, I like the first Transformers. The third one is acceptable. Everything else is just Michael Bay garbage. It feels like you're chewing on tinfoil when you watch those abominations. Bumblebee was fine, but I've never had the urge to watch it again. And the newest movie, Rise of the Beast, it was like, it was okay, but I felt nothing. It just felt like, okay, we've done this 10 times before. What? Oh, there's nothing new here? Okay, great. Though I guess you could say it ends off on kind of like a high note that they could do more with the franchise. But at the same time, I'm not excited because I've seen what they can do with that franchise and it's not all that enticing to me. So yeah, really, I'd go with the first Transformers. Then I would say, like, honestly, Transformers 3 and Bumblebee are like similar in rewatchability to me. Though I would argue, I could objectively say Bumblebee's the better movie. And then after that, I don't even know. They all blend together. I don't know. Claudia Rogajon says, I always like to imagine that a TMNT movie with Jackie Chan type choreography with a bit of edge what it would look like would be awesome. Your thoughts? Yeah, absolutely. I think if you made a live action TMNT movie, or even if you made like a motion capture one, which we kind of already did that. I know it wasn't that good, but if you did like a really good motion capture one, like I'm talking about like Avatar motion capture, and you have like Jackie Chan fight sequences there's so much fun you could have there with like a Jackie Chan fight sequence with the Ninja Turtles, like utilizing their environment and picking up props and like fight. Yeah, that would be awesome. And even like you could almost like have Splinter voiced by Jackie Chan or something. That'd be cool to me. He could be like their Splinter. I mean, he already played Mr. Miyagi in the Karate Kid movie. Why not? So yeah, absolutely. That's what they should do. That's the tone they should be doing. But with the new TMNT movie, it sort of just looks like, oh, people like Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. Let's kind of copy that vibe and not make it as good. I don't know. James Nichols says, hi, John. Are you at all excited for Indy 5? So I had a screening for the new Indy 5 movie. And it's supposed to be this Thursday. But I had this other opportunity pop up. And it's a big, huge, pretty cool opportunity. And then maybe at one point I can tell you guys about it. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I'm hoping it happens. And if it does, it could be forever life-changing. But so I have this other opportunity, and it just so happens to take place at the exact time the Indy 5 screening is. So I would love to go see Indy 5 this Thursday, but I might have to just watch it like everybody else when it comes out. Am I excited to see it? I'm excited to see it. Am I afraid that it's not going to be everything I want it to be? Yeah. I kind of have a fear that's going to be, it was okay. But like, was it worth the wait? I don't know. All right. Claudia Rogajon says, Jackie Chan is voicing Splinter in the new animated TMT movie. My prayers have been answered. Wait, is he? Is Jackie Chan actually voicing Splinter? Oh, shit. Okay. Well, hey, great minds think alike. They got that part right. Everything else doesn't look good, though. So cool. Good. Hey, that's a positive. Yeah, you know, I've spoken to someone who has seen the new Indie movie, and they said it's like, it just feels like, it feels very generic. So that's what they told me. I don't know. I have not seen it yet. Marcus F says Dark of the Moon is the most rewatchable. Yeah, besides the first Transformers movie, Dark of the Moon is by far the most rewatchable. That actually feels like it has a little bit of soul to it. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up the live show here. But I do want to thank you guys for hanging out with me and talking about movies for the last couple of hours. And as always, give me a day or two. I will put this on Spotify or iTunes or Amazon, wherever you listen to podcasts. This podcast will be there. Or you can click the link down below to Podbean for all the options. I missed the last episode because I had some technical issues with the last live show. But this one, I will upload as a podcast in a couple of days. So if you guys don't want to watch it, you can listen to the podcast whenever, wherever. You can download it, take it on the go, whatever you want to do. That's the option I give to you. But as always, guys, if you missed the newest Flip Trip video, it's right here on this channel. Go check it out. Give it a thumbs up because YouTube's algorithm, they don't know if you like a video unless you push the stupid thumbs up button. Or if you want to go watch my review of The Flash or the new Transformers movie over on the Flickpick channel, go check those videos out. I do thank you guys for hanging out, talking about movies, and I will see you guys next time. Stay safe, take care, and have a good night.